People of Ferguson may feel embattled, but they are not alone. BuzzFeed reported Thursday the National Latina Institute for Reproductive Health, the Hispanic Federation, the League of United Latin American Citizens, and many others have submitted statements expressing solidarity with the people of Ferguson after Officer Wilson shot Michael Brown to death. The National Day Laborer Organizing Network, who organized the hunger strike in front of the White House this past April. You'll remember Cynthia Diaz, who subsisted on just water for 5 days in hopes that her mother would be released from a detention center. They were eventually reunited in May. Now, the National Day Laborers Organization's Marisa Franco is calling for solidarity in the aftermath of the police slaying of unarmed teen Michael Brown. Her Friday statement read, in part, quote, "As a movement that is fighting criminalization to stop deportations and detention, Latinos and immigrants have a duty to stand alongside those who have been fighting it far longer." On the streets of Ferguson, people have bravely sounded an alarm on the crisis of violence besieging the Black community. As we defend our own families, we must answer the call not simply to be in solidarity, but because the problems our communities face and the solutions we seek are linked together. Joining me now from Phoenix, Arizona is Marisa Franco, leader of the National Day Laborer Action Network's Not One More campaign. Nice to have you this morning.
Thank you. Good morning.
So why, tell us, is solidarity so important in this moment?
Well, you know, in the immigrant rights community and the Latino community, we've been fighting a monster. We've been calling on President Obama to stop deportations, and that's a lot of work. But we don't think that's an excuse to stand idly as we see the attack happening on the Black community. We know firsthand the danger of when police are given duties. We've seen firsthand the way that the border's been militarized, the way that prisons and jails are conveyor belts to deportation, and when police become deportation agents. And so we are gravely concerned when we see issues and situations like those in Ferguson and the many that come before, where police are taking matters into their own hands and becoming judge, jury, and executioner all in one. And so we think it is the least we can do to issue statements, and it's a first step in what is to come to be able to address this issue that is a crisis.
I was truly heartened to see your statement, that of other organizations, that of LGBT organizations like HRC and others, who clearly seem to recognize this question of belonging. Talk to me then about what you see as solutions that cross the borders of LGBT questions, of Latino questions around deportation and immigration reform, and for African Americans in communities fighting over policing. What feel to you like solutions that address those questions broadly?
Well, we're really interested in how can we, you know, what we can bring is our experience in our sector. We saw deportations happening a year ago. This was an issue that was being talked about as economy, you know, fruit and vegetables dying on the vine. And right now, the immigration debate is being talked about human suffering and deportations as the centerpiece. And we're here to say we've learned some particular things in our sector about what it means to try to fight and try to fight as if we're trying to win, and trying to fight as if we want Michael Brown to be the last person. We want his family to be the last ones to suffer from this tragedy. And so there's particular things, I think. One is that we need to really hear from the voices of people who are directly impacted, people who are survivors of police violence. I think hearing from women, Black mothers, who have been on the front lines of having to teach their children about how to survive, and grassroots organizers like those in Ferguson and around the country who have been battling this for far longer. We think it's time to push those who claim to be our allies to demand that they be champions. This is not just one issue of a rogue cop or a mismanaged police department. This is a crisis. This is an epidemic. And we think that it requires us being flanked and having the back of the Black community as they respond to this issue. And I think we need to try different things, because if we continue to do the same things, we're going to get the same results. We need to innovate and try different things to address this, because his life matters. His family should not be suffering in vain. And we need to fight as if this is going to be the last time.
Marisa Franco in Phoenix, Arizona, with such a simple and yet compelling idea. What if we decided that Michael Brown would be the last one? Thank you. Coming up, more on the community's response to a curfew in Ferguson, Missouri.
We are Mike Brown! Justice!